super neat. And I just thought I'd quickly pop in because I'm going to be showing you the most incredible technique that creates some beautiful artwork out of your, out of your embossing folder. So why don't you join me as we head over to my craft table, and I'm going to show you how to turn an embossing folder into a piece of magic. Look forward to seeing you in just a few seconds. So welcome to my craft table, and I am super excited to be showing you this technique today. And I've just created these two cards using the same technique but using different mediums, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. And it's going to be super easy. Now you will need for this project an embossing folder. It doesn't matter which one, but it is a good idea if it's something that really is defined. So for this project, I used the Elegant Eucalyptus 3D project, a 3D folder. And you're going to need, depending on what look you want, you're going to either need some chalks, or in this case, I used some Stampin' Up! Right markers. And it's the same folder on a different part of the one is a debossed and the one is the embossed side. You're going to need some designer series paper that is of your choice, and then a color to matte. And because the designs are going to turn out different every time, I can't give you the dimensions of the mats, only to say that you want it about 1/8 of an inch bigger than the piece that you eventually cut. Then I suggest you have some thread, which is in this case linen thread. In this case I used Parakeet Party. You may want a sentiment. In this case I used the Dainty Delights stamp set, and this one I kept plain because I'm going to give this to my husband for our 30th wedding anniversary. And for the 30, I used my Stamparatus, and I used the brand new Classical Letters, which is in the online exclusive, which is available to everybody from the 1st of March. You are also going to need a form of spraying your water. So I love to use, let's just get that, is that picking up from the camera? I like to use my stamping spritzer. And you're going to need a scrap piece of paper. I just like to use basic white. And yeah, designer series paper. I just want to show you, I actually used the paper from the Happy Forest Friends for this background. And then for this background, I used the Tea Boutique. So let's just go and find that, which is page 12. I have featured that paper before, and I used the Tea Boutique, and it was that one over there. So that's a gorgeous, gorgeous designer series paper. So I'm going to demonstrate both of these, but I've actually prepared everything to remake this card. So shall we get started? They are gorgeous. I have got my Stampin' Up! Apron on because it's a little bit messy, and I've got some work clothes on, so I don't want to get myself full of ink. So I've just got an apron on. If you are a messy paper crafter, you may want to do the same. So for this, let's do this technique first. So for this technique, you're going to need, if you want to completely copy me, you're going to need your soft succulent Stampin' Up! Right marker, and you're going to need your Granny Apple Green. There, is it focusing? There we go, Granny Apple Green. And it's really tricky to get this to focus on the camera. Come on. There we go, soft succulent. Bear in mind, soft succulent, fresh freesia, pale papaya, and evening evergreen are going to be retiring in May with the in color retiring. So for this, you need to have a feel on your embossing folder. There's going to be the bit that stands out, and there's going to be the bit that is deep and embossed. And so I'm going to use the debossed side. And the first thing you need to do, and I just want to get my protective sheet, is you want to use your water that's in your spritzer, and you're going to give it a pretty generous spritz. And then with the broad tip, you're just going to color this in. I was actually blown away by how unbelievably effective this technique is with minimal effort. So that's the soft succulent, and now I'm just coming in to the bits with Granny Apple Green. Something just to bear in mind, as I've now made a card using this technique, the more ink that pools in between the deboss, I do hope this is the right side. I'm just thinking maybe, yeah, I do believe so. We'll soon tell. Or maybe it's the other side, and if it is, that's okay. I think I've got all the bits. I'm just going to go over here. All right, and now you're just going to lie a piece of basic white cardstock over the top, and you're going to run it through your cut and emboss machine. And because it's a 3D, I just need plate 1 and plate 4. Do remember, when you're running a embossing folder, you want the hinge side going first so that it doesn't accidentally lift up. Alright, oops, and this one's pretty, it's got a lot of wooma, this one, and we're going to go back. It's making more noise than what it actually ought to. It's just a very grunty little embossing machine. Okay, let's take this out and show and tell time. So, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim that off, and I'm going to do that, and then we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to do it with chalk, and we're going to do it on the other side. Oh, that's turned out so beautifully. So, okay, so we'll keep this. It's just so stunning. I might even get 2 cards out of that one. So now with this one, I just want to clean my embossing folder. You can either use a baby wipe, or if you do a lot of work on it, you may prefer to just, I found the stamping mist was quite a good one to just spray on it and make sure that all those colors don't transfer. Okay, so for the first one, I used the side that was raised, so the debossed. Now this one, I'm going to do the same, excepting I'm going to use chalk, and I'm doing it on the emboss. So I'm spraying, and then I'm coming, let me just first show you the box. So it's the Soft Pastels assortment, and they come in a range of colors. I'll read them to you. Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. So I am using, I'll get them out, I'm using Granny Apple Green, I'm using Mossy Meadow, and I'm using Poppy Parade. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my chalk, and I am literally just chalking in those grooves wherever I see some green. I'm now coming in with the Mossy Meadow. This one's quite moody, so I'm just going to use it quite lightly. And I'm sort of wanting an autumnal feel in New Zealand. By the time this goes live, or the time you can see it, we will officially be in autumn. And we didn't have much of a summer, hardly. I'm just going to spray this very lightly from a distance, and I'm popping, oops, just check that that didn't mess, popping that over and over, and I'm going to bring back my Stamp and Emboss machine and just make sure I've got my plate. And we'll run this through twice again. Right, show and tell time. Let's have a look. How did this one turn out? There we go. So that wasn't too different from this one. So that's how I recreated this card with the pinky. Do you see how it creates like that pinky background? Which is why I pulled through the pink there. So I'm going to set those to the side because we're not going to work with that for this particular card. So for this particular card that I want to replicate, you're going to need, let me just move my chalks away. We're going to need my basic 5.5 inch by 8 1/4 base. And as always, I will have the instructions or the measurements up for you on the screen, and they should be up there now. So that's there. You're going to need a piece of designer series paper, and I've cut this at 5.5 by 2 inches. Isn't that cute? So it's a very cute little paper series, this, but I'm after a pattern. I don't want the busyness of that, and I love the Regals. They're my favorite. And then I'm going to cut, oh my gosh, I quite like that look, but I particularly like that look, so I am going to cut that off. So let me just get my papers from the back. Just have to try and pull it off the pile without throwing everything down, which I've just done. I need to come up with a different system. So I'm going to, I want this flower. I want that flower in. So, and I need to be mindful. So that's going to be, let's go with that. Let's have a look how that looks. Yes, that's beautiful, but so is that. Oh my goodness, which one to choose? Because I love how the green's gone speckled. Let's do that one. I am going to use the other one on another card, but I do love that speckled look. So you just need to cut a mat, and as I said to you, you'll cut a mat that is about 1/8 inch. So in this case, I'm going to make it 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. So I'm just going to go and cut that, and then I'll be back. Right, so I've cut my base, and I am now going to use dimensionals because I do just want to create a sort of the feel that it's been framed like a piece of art, because it is. It's my piece of art that I created, and there will never ever be another piece like that again. So that's beautiful. I love that whole exciting thing of creating something completely unique and bespoke. And each time I do it, it's just a whole different look. It's just beautiful. Have I said that word many times? Okay, so I'm matting that on there. So you can see with the dimensionals, it just creates a whole different look to the card. And I'm going to glue that on there and take it more sort of into the center so that it's framing the cardstock. And then I just need to add some jewels, and I've got with these guys the leftovers that I had in my stash. I'm keeping this card very elegant. Actually, let me do my ribbon first. So I'm just using my linen thread, 1, 2, and 1. Cut it off there and cut it off there. Let's just bring those all together. And I'm tying that in there. So while I'm tying this, I just want to ask and thank everybody that is watching my YouTube channel. I appreciate your support immensely. I do just want to ask that if you are subscribed, don't forget to hit the bell so that you can get notifications on when my next video comes out. I am going to be changing the scheduling from this week. I am under a business coach, and his recommendation to me was that I change it to a Thursday evening. So I'm going to be doing that, and I would love to know from you if that works better for you. If you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe. And also, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button to my newsletter, where you will get weekly inspiration from me, tips and techniques, and all kinds of interesting things that I only post for my newsletter subscribers. The other thing is, if you are watching this and you live in New Zealand and you are keen to attend one of my very popular Stamp and Eat retreats, my newsletter subscribers always get heads up and first week ahead of it going for public bookings. So do keep that in mind if you want to indulge in a weekend of paper crafting and you are living in New Zealand. Then by subscribing to my newsletter, you will have first option on that. But even if you're not living in New Zealand, you can definitely subscribe to my newsletter and still benefit from the tips and techniques that I post on a regular basis. So while I was yakking away, I have added my gems, and now all that's left to do is the inner. So I just want to show you with this inner, I used my Stamparatus and I used Sahara sand to do that. But obviously I'm not going to be making two cards for our wedding anniversary. So I am just going to keep it very simple, but I'm going to trim this piece of flower off, and I'm going to rough it up a little bit and add that into the front of, or the inside of my card. So I'm just going to trim that up, and I'm going to use my scissor and use my normal favorite technique and just rough that up. All right. And then I'm going to glue that inside. Just turn it. Yep, that looks fine. Like that. And my mats onto a mat of soft succulent. And like I said, this color is retiring at the end of April because it's been in circulation 2 years. I am going to miss this color terribly. It is one of my favorite greens. There is talk of a color refresh within Stampin' Up. We, as demonstrators, have already been sort of given a hint of some of the returning colors. So if you are a fan of soft succulent and you'd like to get your hands on that, and you're in New Zealand, you must look out on my Facebook page. I am going to be selling and putting those all up for sale when we're allowed to do that. So there we go. Isn't this gorgeous? I just absolutely adore this look. You become an artist in a space of a few minutes. So there you have 3 gorgeous cards. Well, 2 if you just do that one strip of paper, and it's just a scrap, using the embossing folder of your choice, either chalks or Stampin' Up! Bright markers. So thank you so much for watching this inspiration. I hope it has inspired you, and that you will go and give this technique a go and let me know how you got on. And even better, why don't you go and post a photo on my Facebook page and show me what you have designed. I would love to see it. And remember, until we meet again, stamp, eat, sleep, repeat. Bye!